Would you like to grow your brand with PR? Maybe you'd like to get more press coverage for your website so that you can grow your brand, drive more customers to your site, and get more traffic. Well, whatever that is, it's surprisingly easy to get more press coverage to your website for absolutely free. So you don't need to spend a small fortune doing this. And you can basically get more press coverage using something called HARO, also known as Help a Reporter Out. And this is one of the best platforms out there right now to get more PR for your website, to grow your brand, and to get your brand out there to the market. So if you want to know exactly how to get featured successfully using HARO, to learn some of my best tips and tricks, and to get your responses to the top of the pile when it comes to HARO replies, then keep watching and make sure you subscribe, because my mission is to help you grow your website. So keep watching if you want to learn more. So HARO is kind of like a marketplace for journalists and reporters. So they post on there looking for stories, and then you can reply to these stories and pitch reporters to get your story featured. For example, they post on there saying, hey, we're looking for someone to reply to this certain story, and then you'd reply with your opinion, and if you're featured successfully, you'll have your name mentioned in the publication along with maybe your website, your brand, and who you are. And the awesome thing about HARO is that it's free too. So normally with PR, you can easily pay like a few $100s to get featured. With HARO, it's completely free of charge. And that's mainly because it's win-win to use HARO, okay? So you get featured, but also the publication gets free content. They don't have to pay expensive writers. They don't have to spend time researching, and they get expert opinions from people like you who've pitched to them via HARO. And big websites like Fox News, New York Times, and Mashable are all using HARO, so it is the place to be right now. So it only takes about 30 seconds to sign up to HARO, and once you're in, you'll receive email updates a couple of times a day. And this email will break down all the latest opportunities for you to pitch and reply to. And sometimes they're anonymous, so you have no idea who they are, and sometimes they've listed who the publication is. Also, some of the deadlines are quite short, so try and nip it in the bud quickly so that you make sure you get featured on time. To respond to HARO queries, it's as simple as writing an email, so even your grandma could do it, and all you have to do is write a few sentences. In fact, I wouldn't recommend writing any longer than that, simply because you don't need to write a whole book here. You can keep it short, simple, straight to the point, and this is simply about quality over quantity. So don't write a huge wall of text, split up the paragraphs, make it easy to read, format it nicely so that the journalist can easily copy and paste that information straight into that article. And when you reply, just imagine it like posting a comment on a blog. So you want to make it actionable, valuable, and very useful to the person that's reading it, because the more useful it is, the more likely you are to get featured. So that's what I recommend. Now keep watching, because there's a bit of a knack to optimizing your HARO response to make sure that you get to the top of the pile, because journalists receive so many responses that you want to make sure yours really stands out, that it's unique, that it's different from everyone else's, and therefore there's certain hacks and ways you can optimize your HARO response to make sure you get featured. And as you can see, I've been featured a few times using HARO, and it's very easy if you have the tips to know how. So keep watching to learn more. So the first thing I'd say is show a bit of personality, because you should write the way you talk when you respond to HARO pitches. You're pitching a journalist, not the queen, and therefore you don't need to be overly formal when you reply, and you don't need to use like dear sir or dear madam. You can just be very informal and conversational when you reply to people. And also what I'd recommend is keeping it short, consistent, and straight to the point. Next up, realize that pitching is selling. So sell yourself in your HARO response. And it's time to become Charlie Big Potatoes here and explain why you're the best person to be featured for this pitch. Now, obviously, don't go overboard and don't be too arrogant, but explain why you're authoritative and credible and the best person to be featured in this article. And that will go a long way in making sure that the journalist takes you seriously and understands that you're the best person to feature in the article. So for example, you're responding to this pitch about cats because you own a Burmese cats website that gets 10,000 visitors a day. Just use anything you can, or any sort of social proof you can, to make sure that you're seen as the expert on the topic. Next up, make sure you include the requirements when you respond to HARO pitches. Okay, so on every email breakdown from HARO, you'll see a requirement section, and this will show what the journalist is looking for when you respond to them. So maybe that's a headshot, a link to your website, a bit about you and why you're the best person to be featured. But whatever it is, make sure you include that in your pitch so that the journalist can see, okay, you've read the post, you understand it, you've included the requirements, and you've made it as easy as possible for the journalist to feature your comment. Next up, keep your response very short, simple, and straight to the point, because journalists receive a crazy number of pitches every single day. If they run a big publication, then they're getting cold email pitches, they're getting responses to their stories, they're getting people pitching them, plus they're getting all the HARO responses too. And there's 800,000 people registered on HARO, and they're all looking for featured opportunities just like you are. So if you want to get featured, make sure you don't send them a big wall of text. Instead, send them a few sentences. That'll do, just straight to the point, and very easy for the journalist to reply to. And also, if they can just copy and paste that comment straight into the article, that's even better because you've streamlined the process and made it easier for them to feature you. And finally, come up with unique opinions. Okay, so if you write the obvious thing, then so have the other 20 or 30 other Joe blogs who responded to that pitch. So instead, come up with something completely unique that you know no one else is going to reply to, and that will make you look a lot more credible, authentic, and it'll make your pitch stand out. And a little tip here, I recommend using storytelling to make yourself look more human, and therefore the journalist will feel more attached to your story and you'll be more likely to get featured. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions about HARO, please let me know in the comment section below. If you want more videos about help report it out, please check out my playlist on YouTube. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so that my channel can help you build your brand, grow your business, and drive more traffic to your site.